Oh, hello. And how is everybody today, huh? My word this month is procrastination. I'm great at procrastinating. I mean, I like to put things off. I've been putting off the video, though. I said 500, I would make a new one. Well, we're close to 500, so I'm going to make a new one. But I've been putting it off. You know, the reality is this has just been a real strange time for me. I'm retired now. I don't know whether I want to continue working or if I just want to lay around the house and think about projects that I like to put off. I know I'm very tired. I've had a problem with blackberry bushes. They become the paramount problem. You'd think cancer would do that, but no, it's blackberry bushes. And a lady up the street who calls the city every time she sees a blackberry bush in my yard. She says she can't sleep at night, the poor dear, because I have blackberry bushes in my backyard. It interferes with her life. So she complains, and the city writes me a letter, cut the blackberry bush, or we'll fine you an exorbitant amount of money. And I said, but I am taking tests because I think I have cancer. And it's 108 degrees outside, and I'm very old. Doesn't matter. You've got to cut them. So anyway, with the help of a neighbor, we got the blackberry bushes all cut. So now they're gone. I hope I'm safe and secure. I'm not sure, though, about the cancer. You know, I think it's strange that I've been told 4 times that they were absolutely sure this is cancer. And they were so sure the last time, and when the biopsy test and everything comes back, the doctor calls, and this was a strange call. He said, well, all of those tests on your prostate were fine. I thought, great, I don't have cancer. He said, well, the last test. You remember the one that was so painful? Well, the whole thing on that biopsy of the prostate is painful. I mean, sticking something up your behind the size of a baseball bat with a needle on it tends to be unusual. I would say even painful. The doctor said, you remember the one that you found particularly uncomfortable? I did. Like I levitated 8 foot above the table. Yeah, it hurt, even though it had been dead and it wasn't supposed to hurt. He said, well, that one was ambiguous. I don't even know what that word means. I looked it up in the Funkenwagnall. Lord knows. I still can't find it. I think it's because I can't spell the word. I have an idea it means unclear, sort of like nebulous, but I don't know. Anyway, he said it was highly abnormal. So I said, I mean, I have cancer? Well, he wasn't sure. They're going to do it again. I know that's one of the things one looks forward to, is having that test done again. The same as that bone marrow test that I didn't like. That's another thing involving a needle the size of a baseball bat. If that won't get me sympathy, nothing will get me sympathy. Anyway, we just don't know. I think it might be the fact that I'm a smoker. And they're hell-bent to find cancer within me. Even though they can't, it just frustrates them and they have more tests. I keep thinking of my dear dog Charlie and how many tests we did on Charlie, and he died and we have no clue what was wrong for sure. It must have been a poison of some sort, probably tainted dog food, but we really don't know. It kind of got me thinking about what would one do if they knew they had 24 hours to live. There was a saint once, and I can't remember who the saint was. He was asked that question. He had a good answer. My answer immediately was a very simple one. If I knew that there was 24 hours to live, I would charge up all my credit cards right to the maximum. They'd be one hell of a 24 hours. And I would take the money that I've put in savings and planned to use for the rest of my life, and I'd consider it the rest of my life, that 24 hours, and I'd spend every cent of it. And I could say, we don't know why he died, but he had a smile on his face and he died. The reality is, you know, when you stop and think about this, none of us know when we're going to die. That's an unknown in our life. So what is the thing to do. Well, you know what that saint said he would do? He said, I would just live life like I have been living it. Just do the same thing I'm doing now. Like nothing had changed. That's what I think we have to do. Is just go on and not worry about those kind of things. They also are looking for a different kind of cancer, and it's called myeloma. I can't pronounce it. It's not the skin cancer. This is one in the bones. This one is much more serious. It's one they hope they don't find. They hope they can find the prostate cancer, because that's a lot easier to deal with than this other. They'll have to do another bone marrow test to see if that's a possibility. I don't like that test either. That's another thing where they have a needle the size of a baseball bat and shove it into your pelvic bone and suck out marrow. That's not good. Yet, I guess I'm going to adjust myself to these kind of things. The world's going to end in 2012 anyway. I heard that on a late-night talk show. A bolide or something's going to fall from outer space, and everything's going to go. Even the Mayan calendar ends, and Nostradamus said it was going to end. They've even come up with a date. December 21st, 2012, my dad's birthday. How fitting is that? So when I looked up that myeloma, of course I was using a Merck's medical manual that was written about the time Lewis and Clark came into the Pacific Northwest. So it's maybe a little out of date, but it says 3 years. 2012, that's 3 years. So that's not a good year for me, if I make it that far. But what am I going to do? I will do what that saint did. I'm just going to try to continue living my life and try to do it right. What have I learned over all of these years that prepares me to do that? Something I'd love to share with you, because you're friends of mine. Get yourself a voodoo doll, and when you get so frustrated at things, punish the voodoo doll. Stab it in the heart. Because you know why? Voodoo dolls don't feel those kind of things. Even when you rip out their hearts, they don't care. But people do care. So you have to be very careful when you're dealing with people. Oh, if you will excuse me.